Hi everyone, we are excited to have you here in today's fun-filled learning session at Uolo. Here is a quick look at how you can submit your work after the class. As a first step, go to live.uolo.com. You can use any browser to access this site. On this page, you will see a list of all our classes. Scroll down and you can see the Submit Your Work button. And then you will see a list of the classes that you've last attended, which could, for example, show the dance or craft or science experiment classes you've attended recently. Next, it will show you the list of children whose names are registered in this mobile number. Choose your name from this list to submit your work. For instance, if you are Satvik Kumar, choose that name. And then choose the class for which you would like to make your submission. For example, if you've attended the New Year's Masquerade Party session and you'd like to make the submission for this class, click on the Submit Your Work button below that. And then upload the photo you've taken. Choose the image from your phone and click Submit. You can scroll down and view all your past submissions and see how many of your friends or peers have liked your work. You can also see others' work and like their work to inspire your friends. If you want to showcase your work on social media, that too is very simple. Click on Share, copy the link, and post it on Instagram or Facebook or any other platform of your choice. Just a tiny reminder, your submission looks a lot better if you could click a photo in the landscape mode rather than the portrait mode. Do not forget to tag us at YOLO_app. I'm eagerly looking forward to all your submissions right after this class.
Hey there, kids. How are you doing? Welcome to today's class. Today is our third class as part of our media educational course that we have been going on. Now, in the first class, we went ahead and spoke all about animation, and in the second class, we went ahead and spoke all about news. Now, we went ahead and did some fun activities in the last class and the previous class of that, and it was really, really exciting to have you guys attend the class and do some fun things. Now, today's class is going to be all about music, and I want it to be something that you could go ahead and experience rather than just something that you were going to get informed about. So today's class is going to be really exciting. So hope you go ahead and enjoy the class that we have for you today. Now, before we get started with today's class, let's talk about two things, before we get started. So the first thing that I want to go ahead and talk to you about is going to be about the certificate program. Like you all know, you're getting certificates for the work that you're going ahead and doing. The only thing that you have to make sure of is firstly, make sure to go ahead and attend all of your classes. If you go ahead and miss any class from your course, then automatically it becomes hard for us to give you a certificate. So make sure you're attending all of your classes. The second thing to go ahead and keep in mind is for you to go ahead and do all of your submissions. So whatever submission you have as part of that class, make sure to go ahead and do the submission on time to get your certificate. Now, one thing that I keep going ahead and telling you as part of my art courses, as part of my GK courses, is always about how important it is for you to go ahead and do your submissions irrespective of how you've done on that particular day. Now, when it comes to our art courses, automatically I can go ahead and see the improvement that you're making based on the work that you've gone ahead and put in. But what about the GK classes that we have going on like this one? Now, these classes are sort of made in a way wherein I can go ahead and see how you're building on your creativity. I'm going ahead and seeing how you are progressing when it comes to your creativity. So basically, the small changes of how you are thinking, how you're analyzing, how you're going ahead and getting creative when it comes to your submission, how imaginative you can go ahead and get when it comes to your submission is basically what I'm going to be going ahead and checking out. So make sure to go ahead and participate and do your submission on time for all of these classes as well, so that I can go ahead and see how much you're learning along the way. Now, like I mentioned, today's class is going to be all about music. So let's go ahead and get started. So, firstly, let's talk about what music is. Now, music basically is just a bunch of sounds. Isn't that what basically it is? So, like you all know, music is something that is listened to, it's something that we hear. It's not something that we can see or something that we can taste. It is takes part with the sensory idea of our ear, it takes care of our hearing. So basically, sounds are there all around us. If you're thinking about the wind, if you're thinking about the birds, if you're thinking about when we talk, if we go ahead and drop something, glass, anything, basically anything that you have around you create some form of sound. You can find the sounds of animals, you can go ahead and do a little bit of coloring, shading, whatever it is. If you go ahead and listen minutely, there will be some form of sound produced with every activity that you go ahead and do. Now, those sounds become music when you go ahead and compose it and create sort of like a melody when it comes to it. So, what is the concept of composing it? Now, composing it and composition basically is the idea of taking all of these sounds and making it something meaningful. Now, like you all know, if you listen to Bollywood music or you listen to Hollywood music or you listen to any form of regional music, you will know that you have songs that come as part of movies, or you generally have tunes that come as part of TV shows, or you have tunes that come in cartoons, or you have tunes that come in advertisements. So, what they basically go ahead and do is they take all of these sounds and kind of make a composition of it that has meaning. So let's say, let's take a very popular song of Bollywood. Let's go ahead and take any of our Shah Rukh Khan songs. Let's take, for example, if you take any of his songs, you will know that they've gone ahead and taken a bunch of sounds, created a beat to it. So, for example, if you want to talk about Kal Ho Na Ho, it's a very pleasant song. It is a song that, has a good tune to it. It's a song that is slow. It gives a very, very happy vibe. So what they've gone ahead and done is they've taken peaceful melodies. They've gone ahead and taken peaceful sounds, composed it in order to create a slow, fun going, emotion with it. But versus you have other songs like from Shah Rukh Khan, for example, let's take Chamak Chalo. So if you go ahead and take that song, you'll notice that it's a very upbeat, fun song. So what happens basically in that? So what they've gone ahead and done is they've taken different sounds that are very energetic, and they've gone ahead and created it to be more energetic. So when you go ahead and compose songs that are really, really fast, they give you the feeling of energy. And then what they go ahead and do is they add in some lyrics to it. So for example, when I talk, it's also a sound. So what they go ahead and do is they go ahead and get a bunch of people who can go ahead and sing, and then they go ahead and get sort of like a beautiful melody going. So whatever the lyrics they want, whatever wordings they want, they go ahead and add it in. For example, if it's Chamak Chalo, you can see they have gone ahead and added in a lot of upbeat, uplifting sort of wordings that are there, versus when you listen to Kal Ho Na Ho, you can go ahead and notice that they're going ahead and talking about really simple melodious things that are there. So every song creates a mood, every song goes ahead and creates a vibe. And that's not something that we really notice, because songs have existed for a very, very long time, or music has existed for a very, very long time. So before we go ahead and continue with the concept of music, I want to go ahead and show you a picture of a bunch of instruments, and then we can go ahead and talk about sort of the history and the evolution of music. So as you can see here, I have this really, really fun picture of different instruments that have existed. Now, if you can go ahead and identify each of these instruments, then go ahead and do so. So your submission of today is going to be in different parts. I'm going to go ahead and tell you what all of the parts are. So part one of it would be sort of to pick out your top five instruments that you like over here and write it down. If you have any other instruments that you know of and it is one of your favorite instruments, then go ahead and take those instruments and make a note of it. You can also go ahead and draw the instrument that you like, or you can write the name of the instrument, whatever you prefer. So here you can see I have a bunch of instruments. So I want to go ahead and talk to you about the history of music, and also talk to you a little about when the instruments itself and what basically came through. Now, the history of music is really, really simple. It is something that is very simple to our culture and nature. So, obviously, as when we became humans and as time went on, people started realizing that when we talk or we go ahead and do any activity, sound is being produced. And obviously, they realized over time is when you play these different sounds together, it sounds beautiful, it sounds melodious, it sounds soulful, it sounds really, really wonderful. So what they started going ahead and doing was they started going ahead and playing these kind of simple sounds together in order to create music. Now earlier on, it was going to be very, very simple music. It could just be simple clapping. It could be sort of foot stamping. It also could be just going ahead and taking a rock and sort of like a boulder and hitting it with each other and creating a tinkling sound. So song or basic sounds or basic music instruments started from there. It was very, very medieval. It was very, very simple. It was just things that you had in and around you. Now obviously over time this changed, and things started going ahead and changing. So for example, if you go ahead and look at your flute right there, you will notice it's basically like a pipe which has a bunch of holes. Now the flute basically comes from Indian culture or Asian culture. You have Japanese culture that has it, you have Chinese culture that has it, you have different forms of flute that basically exist as part of our Asian culture. Now where did the flute concept basically come from? Now, the flute concept basically was that they used to go ahead and take bones and used to be hollow, or wood bugs that used to be hollow, and go ahead and create different holes. When you blow air in it, automatically you get sort of a sound coming in. So in the olden days, what they did was they took instruments around them. They had bones, they had tree barks, they had rocks, they had skins, they had rubber pieces, they had paper that they had invented. So what they were doing was they were going ahead and taking all of these different things, creating it into being something innovative, and automatically they got the concept of instruments. Now, every culture has their own instrument that they've gone ahead and created. Some of them overlap each other. For example, like I gave you the example of flute, it overlaps in different places. For example, the drum as well. You have the concept of a drum in many cultures. For example, in India, it is a concept of a tabla. If you go ahead and take from the African cultures, it's sort of like this that you have here. It is an instrument that is very similar to that of a tabla. In the US, you have the concept of the drums with the wooden sticks that you go ahead and use, but every culture has their own version of it, and it tends to be something that is very, very part of our culture. You will go ahead and see in our previous pictures, if you've gone ahead and seen, you will notice that all of our olden time pictures have some form of instruments playing, some form of dance form that existed, and this was a very, very simple and limited format, but now has grown into these wide spreads of instruments. Now since you've gone ahead and picked out the 5 instruments that you like, and you can go ahead and see the several instruments you have here, I wanted to go ahead and play the sounds of 5 instruments for you to go ahead and listen to. Now, maybe or maybe not you've heard these instruments before, but if you haven't, then you can go ahead and listen to them now. Now, I do have a list of 27 instruments, but if you go ahead and play all of them, then our whole class will get over and we can't have more discussions. So I'm just going to go ahead and play 5 to 6 instruments for you to go ahead and hear for now. So let's go ahead and listen to it. So let's listen to it. Now I have 5 or 6 instruments lined up. One more thing that I want you to go ahead and do is pick out one instrument sound that you absolutely loved right now and write that down. Let's get started.
Tuba, harp, flute, castanet, saxophone, accordion,
Now, how fascinating were all of those sounds? Now, one thing that I wanted to go ahead and make you notice, and I don't know if you noticed this or not, but if you haven't, then I'm going to go ahead and tell you, was think about what tune he was playing. If you notice, he was actually playing the same tune in different instruments. So the teddy bear was going ahead and playing this tune in the same tune, sorry, in different instruments, but every instrument sounded different. Every instrument sounded a little unique. So for example, if you saw the last instrument that was there, which is similar to that of a harmonica, or sort of like a mix between a harmonica, a piano, as well as that of a saxophone, it sounded something like that. You will notice that he was playing the same exact tune, but with every instrument it went ahead and sounded different. Now, one thing that I also wanted to go ahead and talk to you about was basically that of how different music existed over time. Now, we spoke about the evolution, but one thing that we do have to go ahead and talk about also is the fact that there is a traditional as well as modern music. Now, all of the instruments that you went ahead and heard, the 5 to 6 instruments that you went ahead and heard, as well as the picture that you went ahead and saw earlier, were all olden traditional instruments. Now, some of the instruments, yes, do go ahead and exist even in today's day and age. For example, you have people who play the flute, you have people who play the drums, you have people who play the guitar. All of them have existed over time, something that was played very traditionally as well as something that existed today, but you also have modern versions of it. For example, if you want to go ahead and take the guitar, you have the ukulele, which is a very traditional version. You have a small guitar, you have an acoustic guitar, you have all of these forms of guitars that have existed for so long. But in today's modern day and age, if you look at it, you also have the electronic guitar, which is basically plugged into an amplifier, and it makes different kinds of sounds. So what has basically gone ahead and happened is there's sort of like a mix of technology and music that has happened today. If you go ahead and look back completely to the past, you will notice that earlier it was all pure instruments noises. So whatever the instrument made was the only tune that was produced. But as technology has gone ahead and evolved, we have music that exists in today's day and age, which is a mix of electronics or innovation or technology as well as music. One good example, like I mentioned, is that of the electric guitar. If you look at the electric guitar or you listen to the electric guitar, you will notice that it has both parts of it. It has that of a traditional guitar, which has the strings, it has that of the chords, it has that of the same shape, it has everything to it, but it is not hollow. And the sound is basically being produced by an electronic device or an electronic instrument, or technology basically is going ahead and producing that sound. So music has also evolved in that manner. Yes, it did exist only through what the instrument was making, but now with technology there's so much change and innovation that has happened. Now that is basically the second era, I would say, of music. But the final and the most existing form of music that exists today is that of electronic music. Now, I do not know if you've heard electronic music or not specifically. So, if someone has told you this is electronic music and made you heard it, but electronic music exists all around you in today's day and age. Electronic music is music that is purely created from technology. You don't have any instrument that basically exists in creating electronic music. Now, a lot of present day music is electronic music. For example, if you have any form of beats, if you have any form of modern music, even in Bollywood as well as Hollywood, you have electronic music that goes ahead and plays. Now, electronic music has become its own niche in general, wherein a lot of people only listen to it in particular, and that is the most modern version of music that exists. Another concept that has come ahead and started existing in today's day and age is that of electronic instruments that exist. So, for example, if you have an iPad, or if you have sort of like a laptop with you, or you have a phone with you, go ahead and check out on your app store, and you will notice that there is some form of electronic music or some form of electronic music app that you will be able to go ahead and find. So if you go ahead and look at these apps, you will notice that you can go ahead and play different instruments and it'll sound exactly like that instrument, but it's being played from your phone or your laptop, or it is being going ahead and played from that iPad that you have. So, what is that exactly? So, what basically has happened is people have gone ahead and recorded the different hundred different tunes or different tones of any existing normal instrument. So, for example, what they've done is they've gone ahead and taken probably a drum set, then they've gone ahead and played the different tunes. And once all of those tunes have gone ahead and got played, they've recorded each of those sequences and they have kind of made a record that this way, if you hit it, then this noise will come. And then they've gone ahead and created an app, or they've gone ahead and created a website, or they've gone ahead and created sort of like a platform where you can go ahead and listen to these kind of music and create your own melodies. Now, this is obviously a very amateur version of how electronic music is made. It is a bunch of recorded sounds that is basically gone ahead and played. Now, if you go ahead and you are someone who's very musically inclined, then you can go ahead and check out one of these apps and go ahead and try creating a composition of your own. Play different tunes, play different tones, try going ahead and creating some form of fun music, and you will notice how, fascinating the whole concept is. Now, what is modern electronic music then? Yes, modern electronic music stems from some form of traditional recording of music, but it is also only pure music that exists in today's day and age from laptops. Now, since we've gone ahead and spoken so much about electronic music as well as traditional music, I want to move on to the topics of the different instruments that we have today. Now, the different instruments that we popularly have today are several, but there are several that are not spoken about as well. Now, in Indian culture itself, we have over hundreds and thousands of musical instruments that exist. And a lot of the times, if you look at musical instruments, you will notice that there are variants of the same musical instrument in different formats. For example, if you want to just take that of the guitar, you would realize that you have the small guitar, you have the ukulele, you have the electronic guitar, you have the acoustic guitar, you have so many versions of the same guitar. In the same manner, when you're looking at traditional music, or you're looking at traditional forms of instruments, you will notice that you have different versions of it. For example, if you're going ahead and looking at the flute, you will notice that you have the Indian wooden flute, you have the Indian metal flute. In a Japanese and Chinese culture as well, you have different kinds of flutes that basically go ahead and exist. Now, if we go ahead and get deep down into the kinds of different instruments that exist, it might take a lot of time, so we will not get into that for now. But what we will get into are some facts about music that I want to go ahead and share with you. So let's go ahead and get started with the first fact that I have for you. The first fact that I have for you is that about your heartbeat and music. Now, if you go ahead and listen to any music, you will not know this, but your body will know this, is that your heartbeat syncs with the beat of the song you're listening to. So let's say you're going ahead and listening to Kal Ho Na Ho, or versus you're listening to Chamak Chalo, there will be some beat that is there and your heart will sort of sync to that beat. There was a scientific research that was basically done for this and it exists. The second fact that I have for you is that about an underwater concert. Did you know that on October 10, 2006, a British singer called Katie Marlowe went ahead and did the first ever underground performance? So what he basically went ahead and did, what she went ahead, sorry, and did was she created sort of like a tube or a tunnel wherein she went ahead and took her piano and went ahead and created a beautiful experience for audiences, wherein she went ahead and played underwater, sorry. So it was an amazing experience for all of the people who experienced that. It was a 30-minute session that she had. It was really wonderful and inspiring because it was something new and innovative. The third fact that I have for you is about the band Queen. Now, I don't know if you know about the band Queen or not, but they are a very famous band who formed together in Britain, and they existed from 1970 in London. Now, they are the only band who are actually there on a coin. 2020, they were the only first band that went ahead and came on a British coin. So if you've ever looked at the coins that we have, for example, if you've looked at the 5 rupee coin or the 10 rupee coin or the 2 rupee coin or the 1 rupee coin, you will notice we have different emblems or motifs that are made on the coin itself. Now in Britain, you have different important people who basically show up on the coin, but the first time ever a British band, basically the Queen, existed on their 5 cent coin, which was really fascinating and something really important in history. Now, the next fact that I have for you is about the song Bohemian Rhapsody, which is again created by Queen. Now, if you've never heard that song, go ahead and Google it and listen to the song. It is such a beautiful song, not in the way that you would traditionally think that it is really beautiful in terms of its melodies, but basically it is a very fun and a thrilling song. And I don't think that a song like that has ever been created. Now, the song Bohemian Rhapsody is a song that is the most streamed song of the 20th century. Now, it was basically created in the 1970s, and in 1975, it was the number one hit, and it went ahead to be the number one hit throughout the 20th century, which is a really fascinating. Now, that is back in the day, but even in today's day and age, it has been streamed around 1.6 billion times across different platforms like Spotify, like YouTube, so on and so forth. You have different streaming platforms, and it's been streamed 1.6 billion times. Think about how like big that is. Now, again, coming to modern song history, we have a song called Rap God by Eminem, and this song has been accounted for having the most number of words in a particular song. So obviously, when you're going ahead and singing a song of the lyrics in a song, there will be multiple words in it, but the most number of lyrics ever found in a particular song was that in a Rap God by Eminem. If you don't listen to rap, then you won't know that rap music is basically really fast music. It's a lot of words said in one go, and the longest word said in one go is that by Eminem. Now, coming to the next fact that I have for you is about the bone flute. Now, the oldest existing historic flute or instrument that exists in today's day and age is a 35,000-year-old bone flute that they found, and it is from the southern part of Germany, and it is the oldest thing that they could go ahead and find. Now, coming to instruments, like I said, it dates back very far in history, but we don't really know how far it dates back. So one of the flutes that they have found is that from southern Germany, and it dates back 35,000 years. Now, the last fact that I have for you is about the oldest song that exists. It is called the Harienheim number 6, and it basically was sang 3,400 years ago, and it is one of the songs that was recorded 3,400 years ago and still exists today. So that is the oldest dated song that they basically go have. Now, today's class has been a lot of things that we went ahead and discussed. We started off by what music is. We spoke about how songs are created and how compositions basically exist. Then we went ahead and spoke about instruments, as well as we spoke about the evolution of music and instruments over time. Then we heard 5 to 6 different tunes, and we spoke about how every instrument can play one tune in a specific way, but it sounds different from each other. Then we went ahead and spoke about the different instruments, how they exist in modern day as well as traditional day. We spoke about electronic music versus traditional music. And now finally I gave you 5 to 6 facts about music. Now, what about your submissions? I've already given you two parts of your submission. The first one was to go ahead and write down 5 favorite instruments that you have. The second part was listening to those 5 to 6 sounds and writing down which was your favorite one to do. Now, the last part of it is that I want you to go ahead and create or make or draw or take a picture with some form of musical instrument with you around. Now, if you remember in your animation class, you went ahead and clicked a picture with your favorite cartoon or favorite cartoon character or some form of animation. Today is going to be to go ahead and click a picture with your favorite musical instrument, maybe you standing and playing a musical instrument if you have one at home, or you can go ahead and find a musical instrument online. Like I said, you will find electronic drums, you can go ahead and find pictures, go ahead and find something, click a picture with it and upload it. That's going to be your submission for the day. Now, before we end today's class, let's talk about two things. Firstly, the certificate program. Like you all know, the certificate program is there for you to grab a certificate. So go ahead and grab it at any chance you can get. For that, firstly, make sure you go ahead and attend all of the classes of a particular course. Secondly, to go ahead and do all of your submissions on time. Now, coming to that, except for that, I keep telling you how important it is for you to go ahead and do your submissions irrespective of how you've done in a particular day. Now, in art courses, yes, I want to go ahead and look at how you're improving per class. But what about when it comes to these kind of courses? Now, these kind of courses are to look at your creativity, to look at how you're growing, to look at how you're going ahead and enjoying class, looking at how innovative you can go ahead and be. So make sure to go ahead and click a picture and upload it so that I can see how creative and fun you can get when it comes to music. Now, if you haven't already, look at the submission video and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.
Hi everyone, we are excited to have you here in today's fun-filled learning session at Uolo. Here is a quick look at how you can submit your work after the class. As a first step, go to live.uolo.com. You can use any browser to access this site. On this page, you will see a list of all our classes. Scroll down and you can see the Submit Your Work button. And then you will see a list of the classes that you've last attended, which could, for example, show the dance or craft or science experiment classes you've attended recently. Next, it will show you the list of children whose names are registered in this mobile number. Choose your name from this list to submit your work. For instance, if you are Satvik Kumar, choose that name. And then choose the class for which you would like to make your submission. For example, if you've attended the New Year's Masquerade Party session and you'd like to make the submission for this class, click on the Submit Your Work button below that. And then upload the photo you've taken. Choose the image from your phone and click Submit. You can scroll down and view all your past submissions and see how many of your friends or peers have liked your work. You can also see others' work and like their work to inspire your friends. If you want to showcase your work on social media, that too is very simple. Click on Share, copy the link and post it on Instagram or Facebook or any other platform of your choice. Just a tiny reminder, your submission looks a lot better if you could click a photo in the landscape mode rather than the portrait mode. Do not forget to tag us at YOLO_app. I'm eagerly looking forward to all your submissions right after this class.